Board of Trustees, I would like to welcome you to our Shabbat worship service. Of course, if you are new, we would love to speak with you more after services and give you a proper welcome. So please come up and say hello, or we'll be down there at the Kiddush after services. Please be respectful of others and silence or turn off your cell phones so they don't go off during services. We have some special events coming up in addition to our weekly programs. So I'm just going to run through the calendar here. On Saturday, August 12th, please join us for morning Shabbat services and the board installation, which will take place during services, followed by a Kiddush luncheon to honor the occasion. After the luncheon, starting around noon, instead of our regular Torah study, we're going to host the second session of an introduction to our new Machzor, Mishkan HaNefesh, and this session is going to be called Potentially Troubling Liturgy. This is a chance to engage with our new high holiday prayer books and discuss the changes to services and prayers from years past. You can also join us via Zoom if you can't attend in person. And something about these Machzors, it is a change in tone. So coming to these sessions is really useful, not only just to go over the change in the order of the liturgy and the translation, but the way that the Machzors are trying to help us make it through the holiday, how they're helping us to feel our way through the holiday. On August 13th at 10 a.m., from 10 to noon, we are having a Welcome to Bethel, the Beaches open house. And it's a family-friendly event with lots of festivities again, and it's open to the entire community. Feel free to invite friends and family and anyone you know who would like to get to know our congregation and see what we have to offer. Open house will be followed by the Sacred Book burial at 2 p.m. at Ponte Vedra Valley Cemetery. And on Saturday 19th, August 19th, come celebrate the B'nai Mitzvah of Eden Verisbutte and Liam Fraley as they lead us in prayer for Shabbat morning services. On August 20th, we are hosting a back-to-school pool party here at Bethel. Not the pool isn't here at Bethel, but we'll be hosting a party where there is a pool about coming back to Bethel. On August 25th, we'll have a Tot Shabbat here for our youngest members starting at 5:30 and followed by regular services. And if you have any tots or know any tots, it is a lot of fun, so encourage them to come. Our weekly programs begin every Wednesday with Sisterhood Shalom Yoga at 10 a.m. and Jewish meditation at 11:30 a.m. And then every Friday morning, you are welcome to join us for Sisterhood Beginners Mahjong at 10 a.m. in the Elikin Library, which is just over there. One last request. We are looking for people to facilitate our live stream, especially on Friday nights. So if you go online, you can find the sign-up link, and we'll be in touch with people. That link comes out with a regular blast every Thursday. A more detailed information about all these events can be found in our bulletin, and please don't hesitate to ask us if you have any questions. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And so now, I encourage you to turn to page 128 in your prayer books for Maya Hayom.
Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom, Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
And now I invite you to turn to page 120, 120 for our candles, lighting the Shabbat candles, and then we will turn to page 123 for the Kiddush. But while we're on page 120, I would like to invite up our very own cantorial soloist to lead us in the lighting of the candles and the blessing over the wine, the Kiddush. So page 120, 120.
We invite you to rise in body or spirit.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim givanu v'acharta v'otanu ki dashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
You may be seated. And now please join me on page 126, 126, to read together. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life. And now I invite you to turn to page 138, 138 for L'Chadodi, and we'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And as we join together to sing the last verse, verse 9, I invite you to rise, not yet, but to rise in body or spirit and turn to face the door as we metaphorically welcome Shabbat to join us. And so, L'Chadodi, page 138, 138.
Ya la 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabala. Shemor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi anu el hamu echad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. L'shem ul tiferet v'liti lai 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 lai. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki makor ha'baracha, Merosh mikadem nisucha, Sof mazeh b'makshavati lai 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 lai, Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala. Hitori, Kiva orech kumi ori, shir da beiri. Kavod Adonai halayich niga lai. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala. B'wi v'shalom al terepala, Gam b'simcha u'tzohala, Toch emunei am segula, B'wi kala, lai. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabala.
We'll actually go right into the Baruch Hu on page 146, 146. And we're going to keep trying a new method of the Baruch Hu, where we do a responsive version. So we're going to say the first part up here, chant the first part up here, and then we'll invite you to respond with the second part of the Baruch Hu. And everything, all new change takes time, so we'll roll with it as best we can, and it's going to be good. So here we go.
Yai la 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 la.
Yai la 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 la.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. Great job, everyone. Seriously, it's in stages. We're learning. It's good stuff. So thank you for coming along with me on this new Baruch Hu journey. And now I invite us to turn to page 148, 148 for Ma'ariv Aravim.
Yada die, 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 die. Yada die, 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 die. Yada die, 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 die. Yada die, die,
Please join me together in the English. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravim.
And now we turn to page 150, 150. Please join me in the English. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And now I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we turn to page 152, 152 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. Page 154, 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. And now please join me on page 159, 159. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. And now we flip back to page 158 for our people's song of redemption, the Michamocha.
Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Micha Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, o sefeleh, nora tehilot, o sefeleh. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze'eli anu ve'amru, Ze'eli anu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
And now we turn to page 160 for Hashkivenu. Let's all read the English before we go up and sing. So together, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch, our God, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ba'al Yerushalayim.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidinu shomrinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidinu shomrinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidinu shomrinu l'chaim.
And now we turn to page 162 for Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. B'ni uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Yisheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat va'inafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
And now I invite you to turn to page 164 for the tefillah portion of our service, and to rise in body or spirit.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevig Ula Livnei V'nehem, L'ma'an Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor L'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atarav Lehoshia, Morid Hatahal, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al givorot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh, Shimcha kadosh, Ukdoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. Please join me in the English on page 175. 175. At the bottom, you are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha lebadcha b'yirah na'avod. And now page 177, 177 at the top. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha lehodot. And now we turn to page 178, 178 for Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rahav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarich et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
And now, having prayed for peace, and having said all of our prayers leading up to this point in the service, our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing. The congregation is thinking for healing of Jim DeArmond, Anita Perlman, Rebecca Kaufman, Pearl Levin, Marcia Cohen, Ron Rappaport, Carol Friedman, Carol Wallace, David Cohen, Rivka Bat-Hinda, Carol Solomon, Ben Fishman, June Van, Rabbi Michael Matchison, Dennis Montaigne, Sherry Chait, Jerry Chait, Larry Michaelov, Antoinette Worrell, Dennis Greiner, Robert Dawkins, Mary Louise Boyer, Stuart Rosenthal, Gary Darrow, David Adler, Cheryl Young, Eileen Thrasher, Velma Krasenstein, Melissa Mackenzie, Maisie and Zev Gould, Marilyn Goodman, Chaim and Yehoshua V'Saradina, Yehudit Bat Naomi V'Raphael, Shmuel Yirmiyahu ben Zachariah V'Rivka, Jaime Klinger, Paula Klinger, Fran Marcus, Eliana Sims, and Joy Schultz. If there is anyone here, starting with those on the live stream, who has a name that they would like to share with the community of someone who is in need of healing, I ask you to do so as my eyes meet yours. We hold all of their names together as a community. And thinking of their healing, we turn to page 371 for the Misha Berach, and I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we open the ark so that we sing this prayer in the presence of our Torahs.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May those who will not be healed on this earth be blessed with nights free from suffering and days filled with peace. May God grant strength and comfort to those who care for the sick. May God help us to find hope and courage as we face fear and loss. May all who are ill be surrounded by the love of friends, loving companions, family, and community. And let us say,
Amen.
you may be seated. And now that we have prayed for peace and prayed for healing, I invite you to take some moments for silent meditation, for the prayers of your own heart.
Use shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yase shalom, Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru, amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I think y'all can do better than that. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. There we go. Good stuff. Good stuff. So last year, at this Torah portion, I had only been here for about a month when I came down with COVID. And I wrote the sermon, and I sent it to our cantorial soloist, Lori Simmons, and she graciously agreed to read it. And I promised you then, via Lori speaking, that I would bring back some of that sermon for tonight. And so I have. And so, spoiler alert, I will tell you a little bit about what's coming when it's coming. And I just wanted to give you, to brief you that from August 5th, 2022 to now, it's been sort of percolating, carrying with me what I was going to bring from last year to this year. And it has been quite a year, and I just want to say thank you to all of you for having me here with you over the last year. So last week, at the end of the book of Numbers, we finished it. And before we start technically talking about the book of Deuteronomy, of this Torah portion, the tradition is that we say, Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek, which translates to strength, strength, and let us be strengthened. It's something that the people that are studying Torah, the community, says together. And so, for those of you who weren't here last week, we can say it together. And for those of you who were, some extra strength never hurt anyone. So, let us invoke and invite the strength that comes from studying Torah in community, from working and learning and praying together. Let us say these words on the count of three. Now, not 1, 2, 3, like on three, but 1, 2, 3, and then. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Chazak, chazak, venit chazek. Strength, strength, and let us be strengthened. In this way, may we go from book of the Torah to the next, and from strength to strength to strength. That phrase repeats the words, two words twice, and then adds a conjugation on the third word. Such repetition, in Hebrew, famously in the Torah, it's used to create emphasis, really strong emphasis. So whenever the Torah repeats something twice, you know that it really wants you to take a look, to pay attention. And the same with this phrase. Repetition is part of the soul of our tradition, that we repeat the Torah every year. We come back to it, we start it over again, repeating and repeating and repeating year by year. So in this Torah portion, Devarim, which is the first portion in the last book of the Torah, in Deuteronomy, Moses does a ton of repeating. It's basically a rehash of the first 4 books of the Torah. Moses is there in his last days, in that 40th year, right before the rest of the people of Israel enter the land. Moses is repeating a lot of the lessons from before. We hear of various kings and the people that the people of Israel have encountered. We hear about Moses saying that Moses was complaining to God and what God's response was about having to put up with us over the last 40 years. And the portion ends with a reminder that God has promised Joshua that God's self, would go into the land and do battle with us. We'll come back to that part. So I asked you to keep an ear out for what I was going to repeat from last year. I'm spoiling the guessing game by telling you, and I hope that some of this will sound familiar and thus resonate on a deeper note. Last year, I brought up, or cantorial soloist Lori Simmons brought up on my behalf, this series from Saturday Night Live, SNL, one of my favorite sketches from the 1980s, the late 80s, which starred Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon playing 2 TV weightlifting bodybuilding personalities, Hans and Franz. And their most famous line was, "I am Hans, and I am Franz, and we are here to bump you up." And they said it in this ridiculous German-Austrian fake accent, and they did it all the time. But one of their less famous lines, which really stuck with me, was, "Hear me now and believe me later," which without the accent is, "Hear me now and believe me later." This line strikes me deeply on a couple of levels, because the first of it is, "Hear me now" reminds me of the Shema, "Hear, O Israel," which resonates. And then the second is the more basic meaning of the words, the commandment to hear what someone is saying, and that hearing it repeatedly may lead to belief. That belief will come afterwards. So back to Moses. We Jews sometimes refer to Moses as Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our teacher. And even though Moses, as tired and annoyed with and frustrated by the Israelites, as he often is, Moses loves us, still loves us, the people of Israel. In this Torah portion, Devarim, Moses reiterates most of what, or a lot of what he said before, a lot of what happened before in the Torah. And Moses is hoping that we will hear him and then come to believe the truths that he is speaking about later. Why the Torah? Why all these truths? Because our eons old tradition, codified some 3,000 years ago and passed down to us generation by generation by generation, wasn't passed down for all the great recipes. It was passed down because it holds some amazing truths. It holds truth for us and relevance. Even though it was codified 3,000 years ago, the truth withstands the test of time. We come back to these portions, these stories, week after week, year after year, decade after decade, and century after century, because these stories contain these truths. These truths can assist us and support us, as they did our ancestors, as they do for us, and as we hope that they will do for the generations to come. So I wish for all of us that we can find rest and peace this Shabbat, so that in the weeks and months and years ahead, we can find the strength that we need to join with Hans and Franz and our Torah tradition to strengthen each other, chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek, to go from strength to strength, and let us be strengthened, so that we can pump each other up, and that by studying these words of Torah together, we can hear them now and believe them, hopefully sooner rather than later, so that these truths can help us to live better lives. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And now let us turn in our prayer books to page 586, 586 for the Aleinu, and I invite you to rise in body or spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום בשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ.
You may be seated. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24 and each moment within. And then in the faces of the people, I see God, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, because I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. Our thoughts turn to those who have come before us and whom we have lost. The congregation is thinking tonight of those whom we have lost within the last year: Dorothy Zemlick Fine, Gordon Overton, Jay Aronoff, Marcel Retner Mendelbaum, Clara Ostfeld, Lionel Gleckenhaus, Lawrence Merrill Saxon, Anna Logsden, Rayla Montagna, Roberto Ruiz, Shelley Fishman, Michael Cherub, Libby Metlika, and then those whom we have lost at this time in years past: Sylvia Belkin, Samuel Ebentoff, Itzhak Herskovic, Marilyn Kammer, Samuel Lepo, Lena Levy, Sela Lubin, Ralph Morris, Ben Needleman, Libby Netlika, Alexander Resnick, Greta Seeley Meinstein, Angela Sternberg, Susan Turner, and Herbert Wise. If there is anyone here that has a name that they would like to share with the community of someone whom they're holding in their heart, whom they have lost, I invite you first in the live stream to do so now, and here in the congregation when my eyes meet yours. We turn to page 598, holding all of their names with us as a community. As we remember them, I invite you to rise in body or spirit for the Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, v'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shmei dekudesha brichu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam Rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace and harmony on high bring comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. Please turn now to page 626, 626 for Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Chadoneinu, Mi Chemalkeinu, Mi Chemoshienu. Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
And now, I invite you to turn back to page 603, where we would like to repeat something we repeat every week, which we repeat in the Torah every year, the priestly benediction. So on page 603, we will sing the English and say the Hebrew. Please join with us and please rise in body or spirit.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yihuneka.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yaseim lecha.
Shalom.
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 Ken Yehi Ratzon. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.